actually kind of wanted to start off with a little bit of a heavy hitter,
Oh
and
boy.
like I've been trying to get back on track, as this week, but did I see that was it Lavius Overton was on campus?
Oh yeah. He was on campus for an unofficial for a few days, so that was big. He really liked it.
Yeah,
So
for
we'll
the
see what
people
happens there. But
listening, tell the people listening who that is.
that's the number one player in 2023. He was born and raised in College Station, so he's a little bit familiar. It looks like he'll be a little bit tough. It looks like Clemson's probably the main team we'll have to get for him.
Hmm.
But he's from Georgia. He lives in Georgia right now. He's pretty familiar, and he said that was his best visit yet. So that's pretty big for us. I know that. I know that was something that A&M really wanted to happen before the end of the open period.
Yeah, defensive lineman, right? 1.00,
Oh
um,
yeah,
247 rating, I believe. So
perfect rating. He's going to be really good.
yeah,
Like he's probably like people are saying he's like a lock to be a first round pick, which is obviously hard to say, but I get the reasoning behind it.
all right. Yeah, something, even, we talked before about these things that like, they're not like you look at a class and you say, oh, I've got more. I've got
Mm-hmm.
16 4-stars this year rather than say 10 4-stars last year. That's an obvious increase in recruiting, right? You'd say, oh, you recruited better from year to year on that one, right?
Yeah,
But sometimes there's some intangible things that are good to kind of look at, like, maybe a little bit further down the list on priorities, like how many 3-stars did you get? You had 5 last year? Did you have 4 this year? So you kind of got, you
a little
diminished,
better.
yeah, how many 3 you were taking? Or did you stay to the end of the game and watch the second and third string play? And did they move the ball more than they normally do? Right.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that before.
Yeah,
So this is kind of one of those for me. It's there's this guy, right? And he's the number one guy in the class and he's on campus.
yeah. I mean, lately, like we haven't, and the thing is, like we're in contention for so many 5 stars, but not quite like the number one guy yet. Closest we've gotten to it recently is probably Gabriel Dindy this year. Um, Dindy is like the number 6 player right now, and even him, like he doesn't get too much talk about it. But Lavius Overton is a whole different cat. Even though like he's only like he's number one, Dindy's number 6 a year above. Like Lavius is he's like the Miles Garrett right now.
Yeah, he's going to be coveted, that's for sure. If we can make that guy's top 5, I'll be impressed. And I mean,
Yeah,
anything beyond that would just be icing on the cake. To be quite honest, I mean, look at Dindy.
yep.
Man, I'm kind of enamored by that guy though too.
Yeah.
He was on campus either last weekend or this last week?
Last weekend, yeah,
Yeah.
last weekend,
How'd his visit go?
really good. Um, his dad, I don't know if you saw it, but his dad got the little preaching job in CSTAT. So his first semester in college, his dad and his family be moving to CSTAT. So I know they kind of looked around about that. But and I know it really well. I know he was able to connect with Stowers just because of the religious beliefs there. But I know it went really well.
Yeah, so being in College Station, hopefully that's something that we'll really follow through on, and probably would love to see a home run hit there, just for the geography part of things and make it easier on the family. They can,
Yeah,
just come see the games anytime. Lovely.
yeah, that'll be a big factor, especially because he's so close to his parents. Like I think he was homeschooled too. He's in high school,
Hmm.
so I think that's a pretty big piece to it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like we got a few hometown connections going on, and that that's that. I mean, I know there's always legacies that come through, but something like that seems like it will, definitely put us in the running for some of these guys. You get that feeling?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so there's the legacies that are interesting, and there's the guys that are like Terrence Brooks, where it's kind of like, I'll do my own path. I think Dindy's probably not Dindy. I was supposed to go on somebody, but yeah, I mean it's kind of hit or miss with legacies. They either want to build their own path, or they want to follow in the footsteps. So I think overall it's pretty good.
Yeah. So I saw, and most people kind of know this guy at this point, I think. But Harold Perkins has been around taking a few other visits, right? So
yeah,
not
a lot of
everything.
LSU visits.
Where's that? Where's he been?
A lot of LSU visits.
Oh, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So he's been there multiple times
Yeah.
now.
I mean, yeah, he's been there a few times, but that's also where his family's from. So I mean, I take that into account, but I don't think it's anything to worry about right now.
Yeah, definitely going to be a fight there. It seems like his other team probably is Texas, right?
Yeah, probably Texas.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully we can hold off Tigers and the Shorthorns.
Yeah.
We'll see. I had to throw that in because it's Aggie Fact Thursday, right?
Yeah. 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 I made a tweet about that today because I don't know why, but apparently everyone just wants to start taking it over back for Aggies. So I'm like, all right. I was like, we're getting a big commit soon. I mean, I think I did it right. I don't know. I don't really know the use of that, but
yeah, there's a couple guys out there really working hard on taking it back too. They're doing a good job. Like Maroon Kool-Aid is one of my favorites out there. You see that guy?
Yeah, I know that. I like that guy.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. So I'm not sure. I've seen a little bit on this guy, and I'm pretty sure he was on campus last weekend. I think 5-star cornerback. But did we make any impressions on Denver Harris?
Oh yeah. I mean, I know there was a few people saw this, but whenever he was on live, he was talking to other recruits, like, "What's the move?" And they're like, "Is A&M it?" And he was like, "Oh, I thought it wasn't, but I mean, this place is pretty cool." So it sounds like he had a blast. He's not too big on answering questions or anything. I mean, I don't have to get anything directly from him, but I know like staff felt really good after that visit. Not in terms of like leading or anything, but they feel like they probably positioned themselves to get back into it.
So we at least made an impression with the guy, and if he was had us written off, he took a visit. Maybe he's at least considering rethinking some of that. I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's see. You've got did Kamari Wilson take over today? Did I see that?
Yeah, he'll be taking over today till Sunday. And
Yeah,
I know he's got some family in College Station too. So I mean, he's having a blast right now. I know that like I got a text from his cousin that's on the team, and they're like this is exactly how it used to be at Florida whenever we were all together again. And he felt really at home so far today. I know he really liked it today.
Well, that's good that he's, we talked about Shadrach, about a month ago, and that was kind of part of that, right? It just kind of didn't really find his groove with relationships perhaps, and didn't really maybe mesh with some of the other guys, no harm, no foul, right? But it was just, maybe it was a better fit somewhere else. And so to hear Kamari's hitting it off the other players is great.
Yeah. I mean, he's always liked us, but I've always thought that he was never able to get on campus. So he never really had that impression of what it felt like to be there and like what the coaches were like. So I think having him on campus this week was pretty big.
Now, do the players cite that very often to you? Like, because I'm starting to see a lot more of our current players showing new recruits around. I think, was it Cam Dewberry? Kenyon Green's been showing him around.
Yeah, that's a personal connection from when they're in high school, when Kenyon was in high school.
So do they cite, knowing guys on the team and meshing during those visits and connecting as big reasons for commitments?
Yeah, I think a lot of that I think that also goes into the factor of being comfortable at the school. I think each player, I mean, that's why I was talking to Tyreek Chappelle. Now it's a year ago. It doesn't feel like that, but I remember the one thing that he was scared about when he was making the decision between A&M and Michigan was that there's not many Philly guys in College Station, so he didn't quite feel comfortable. and Elijah Robinson went out and got Josiah Harris and Elijah Judy. He really started to make them feel comfortable. I think that's the big reason why we got those three. So I do think that's a big part of why those kids do pull the trigger, and that I think that's why you're starting to see more guys leave the state.
Yeah, looked like the staff's doing a really great job with it too. I even saw Bryce Foster in a photo shoot today.
Oh yeah, with Dane Short, with the IMG guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the photo shoots, they're having fun. They're meeting the guys on campus and current players. I wish I was there, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I see, I'm like, man, can I join in? What do I got to do to get a VIP pass or something? Oh, so, all right. This weekend's last weekend before the dead period. I think would you say this is our biggest weekend coming up?
Yeah, probably. You got to finish on some of the targets, and I know there's gonna be some guys that'll show up just out of nowhere just because it's the last few days of the open period. So I know it'll be pretty big staff.
Is Bobby Taylor coming back in town?
I assume so. I hope so. With Kelvin Banks in town, I think you got to bring everyone in town. You got to make sure you get Kelvin.
I don't imagine Bobby's going to miss out on that, right? So
yeah.
So we're looking to make a deposit in the bank, right? It's been on my mind for a week. I'm like, this guy's coming this weekend, right? I knew from I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago that he had planned to have A&M as his last visit, and we had talked about whether or not recruits plan that thing out. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and not that he did, but just to get that last impression is kind of big. That's how much? What would you place him as a priority target?
I think he's at the top. He's probably our number one guy on offensive line right now. Him and then Cam's right behind him, I think. But I know we've been pushing for Kelvin even more since his LSU visit, because I know that they really had that new coach from Arkansas. So I know that factored into a bit, but I know that they've really started to push on him because he moved up his commitment deadline, and so he'll be committing this summer sometime. So and that might favor the Aggies. I'm not quite sure, but having him on campus this last week is probably be pretty big.
Yeah, I suspect Donovan Green probably be in town. I'm expecting a blowout situation, to be quite honest. I know Holt's Bar, get these guys in a rear naked choke and don't let them leave town kind of situation. Like you have to stay here. No, I mean, what would you say, if they're pulling out all the stops, what's that going to look like?
You'll probably see a little bit of coach interaction, probably a little bit more of that. You'll probably see a few more players involved. You'll probably see Kenyon Green make an appearance for Kelvin this weekend. And I mean, you might even see him back at one of those fancy they food in front of you. I'm not sure if they call it there, but if they tend to pull out that and take them out there when there's some pretty big visitors on campus. So I'm not quite sure what else they do, but I know the coach interaction is something that they always pride themselves on, is when they have a priority piece on campus.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I saw from Kamari's thing today that he, I think he walked into his room was just loaded with stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure every school does that kind of stuff, right? So kind of curious, not that or whatever, I'm not really asking, but it's, I'm wondering what our staff's going to be doing to try and, paying attention to those little things, just kind of show the recruit what they're trying to get at, But, let's see. So Kelvin Banks is going to be in town. Any other guys that everybody needs to be aware of that are likely to attend, that are scheduled?
Well, it's on campus. I think Jared Kerr making a special appearance will probably be pretty big. what's his name? We have what's his name? Sexton, offensive tackle. I can't remember his first name.
22 or 23?
He's 22. But I think it's Colin Sexton, from Oklahoma. He'll be pretty big. I'm trying to think. I've had a brain fart.
It's hard to keep up with all of it, right? I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot taking place every weekend, and I know that it's been so much dead time, and we all knew June was gonna be majorly busy, right? So, but quite honestly, it's if I'm thinking about it, and thinking about back a decade, things just kind of feel different in general. Like there's more guys coming through. And again, I know it's June and what was going to happen there, right? But it's not just about the sheer number, it's the sheer number of high quality prospects that are coming through.
Yeah.
You get that same feeling?
Yeah. I mean, we have three IMG kids coming through this weekend. And each one is top 125 in the nation. That's big.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know like a few years back we probably wouldn't have had that happen other than Buckley and Osborne and Demas. I mean not Demas, Mond. I think those are two of the only guys we've gotten from IMG in the past 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So having those three on campus would be pretty big. But yeah, I have noticed this, like it's slowly, gradually gotten to where you have more of the higher tier prospects on campus each week instead of the guys like, okay, maybe this guy can be a project. Instead, it's now guys that can be completely program changing.
Yeah, and even the guys that maybe come across as a project. You mentioned just a second ago one of my favorite guys out of the 21 class, right? Which is Tyreek Chappell.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I know he's a 3-star, but and look, I'm no film expert or whatever, but he looks like the lockdownest guy I've seen in a while. So yeah. Even if he, if we classify 3-star, prospect as a bit of a project, right, or at least needs kind of like a 2-year development window.
Yeah,
like he's up on the upper end of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always liked Chappelle. That was always a guy that I really liked and I always really wanted. I always thought he was kind of criminally underrated from the services. And I get it with the COVID year, but that guy, he definitely could have been a 4-star in any other cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, we're definitely going to see what's going to take place this this weekend. A lot of fun going on. Now, do you think we'll see a 22 commit anytime in the next week?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's been kind of rough to be honest, and it's always like this every year, right? So
yeah.
I don't know if you got to see too, but just trying to keep myself busy. This is a great thing to keep ourselves busy and get us to, hopefully at least the beginning of August for fall camp. But I put out my version of a hype video, what about maybe a week ago or something. And I had actually made it about 6 months ago, but it's been under copyright claim for a while. And so I finally decided, I'm going to dispute that. And yeah, I get the, the claim on it, right? But I was like, I think between the song was the major claim, which is it's set to AC/DC's Thunderstruck. And if I'm not mistaken, that's between like Billy Lucci and Tex Aggs, there was a debate or whatever that was going to be like, what's the entrance song are going to be for something. And I know we have Power. I don't think it was for that. I think it was for something else, but maybe like to start the third quarter, I think is what things were going around. So I was like, let me make a hype video to that. And anyways, it kept me busy and it made for some good fun. So it's honestly, I don't know how good it is, but it's got me wanting to run through a wall. So anybody watching this, check it out afterwards. I put it out on Twitter, but you can only put out a video that's so long there. It's gonna be like 2 minutes or less. So anyways, it's it's a solid 5 minutes. I mean, there's a lot of highlights from last year, and I didn't even get to the Orange Bowl.
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
There's too many.
There's a ton you can pick from last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's another one of those like sort of non-obvious qualitative measures. It's like, oh, all the highlights that are there just to even, pick from. There's so many, right? Even up to, I think I got maybe as far as the South Carolina game. I know I got up to Florida
Mhm.
because that was a big one. But I mean, 5-minute video already and no UNC highlights whatsoever. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's got me at least getting through a weaker here. Hopefully the people watching this can, you know, it'll help them get through a day or two or whatever. But
Yeah.
well, we got this weekend coming up, and so I'm sure everybody will be following this and that. And then, in the next month will be a few commits, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right now, um, man, everybody's talking about the college football playoff. Have you
Oh
followed
yeah.
much?
Yeah. I mean, I saw it. I mean, I don't know how to feel about it. I preferred the 8 route.
Uh-huh.
But 12 I think is a little bit too much. I get it, but the tie-ins is what I didn't want, where the champion of each conference or whatever would get the immediate tie-in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about that, but overall, I think I like it. It kind of kills bowl games a little bit in a way, but it makes it a lot easier for the Aggies to get in. I mean, now you can lose Alabama every single year, but you win every single other game. You'll be top 6. You'll be getting a good first round game. And you'll have a pretty good way to the national title. I'm interested to see how they build that because I think the earliest it's gonna happen is like 2023. So they have time to design it the way they want and find a little bit more depth to the format. But overall, I'm pretty excited. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out exactly how I feel about it too. Partially for me, it's more about like what is it that you want to accomplish? I'm not necessarily against expanding it. I'm not exactly for keeping it down low,
Yeah.
which this is called 4 teams low. It just depends on what we're really trying to accomplish. Like you say, for instance, there's a couple points there, right? Like, okay, so if you expand it to 12 games, then you're okay. 4 games currently has it takes 3 games or in 2 weeks to take care of, right? And there's actually technically there's one extra game that they play that is not normally there, right? So there's usually about
Yeah.
41 bowl games, and I think that may make it now 42. But if you expand to 12, or even if you expand to like 16, like something like what RJ is talking about doing,
Mm-hmm.
then you're looking at a lot more games. So either you take your 41 bowl games and you make it more like 46, right? You just
Yeah.
increase the sheer number of bowl games, or part of those 41 games have to go to that playoff. Now, if that
Yep.
happens, then that means teams that would traditionally get into a bowl game are not getting into a bowl game because
Yeah.
those games are being taken. If it's just more games, fine. That is what it is. And then, you have your playoff and you still have the same other amount of teams getting into bowl games. So it is what it is. But
Yeah.
I don't personally see that if we expand it, it's going to do a better job of finding the champion every year. So if that's the
Yeah.
purpose, then I don't see, if that's the purpose of the football and of the playoff, then I don't see a reason to expand it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
RJ was arguing, and I've listened to it all the time, right? I mean, it's ampersand you this, ampersand you that. And it was like, we didn't deserve the 4th spot. Okay, fine. I
Yeah.
will take that as it may. You had your first, second, and third team lined out, and you were between maybe Notre Dame and A&M. Well, it was of no consequence mostly. So
Yeah.
if between the 4th and the 5th team was of no consequence, then why do we need 16 to figure out who the champion is?
Yeah.
And we don't, right? We don't. So there's more to be said about that. But if the idea is to go from 41 games to 46 games and have 5 additional games, and that's more fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to see more games, but you make a good point. Every year, if this is the case, like if they just go straight to 8, or if they go to 16, then every year we can sit back pretty much, okay, like last year, we could say, we don't have to beat Alabama. What, if we're getting stomped in that game, we pull out our starters in the fourth quarter because we can maybe take another shot at it, have another go at this, in the playoff perhaps. So it does cheapen that game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no two ways about it. So that's what some people are arguing, right? Is that it cheapens the regular season, which I think you're right. It has to happen at some level. It has to be cheapened because, how else? I mean, you look at some of those teams that are like 15 and 16, they've got 2, sometimes 3 losses. So obviously you can still get that many losses and still get in, right?
Yeah.
So why you said you like 8?
Yeah, I like 8. I like 8 because I feel like 12 is too many, but I also feel like 4 is not enough because I feel like if you had to pick between Notre Dame and A&M, there's also probably 2 or 3 other teams that could probably pull an upset against Ohio State or Clemson, which honestly weren't that good this year. And I mean, especially this year, you're expecting to see Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Clemson, A&M. You're expecting to see like at least 6 national contenders, but there's not enough room for all 6, and there's not enough leniency for them to get into the bracket in the first place.
Right.
So I like 6 or 8, but 12 I feel like is a little bit too much.
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't care that terribly much as long as people define like what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
When it comes to like some sort of suggestion about like, don't you like college football? Don't you want more games? Well, of course I love college football, and anybody that suggests that I don't, RJ Young, because I don't necessarily want 16 teams, doesn't mean I don't love college football. I don't have to want more teams to love it, right? Because like you said, I can like 4 teams and know that means that A&M is going to be hugely fired up to play Alabama, because that means basically we have to beat Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, that game's fine. It's already important, but it is massively more important. It's just like if we had out of conference games, right? You have 3 out of conference games that are typically non-power 5 for all the SEC teams, right? Now you could put in a power 5 team in there and get all those group of 5 teams out, and that would make those games more meaningful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're not really talking about those games. We're talking about the actual games we're already playing in conference. It's going to cheapen those games.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, especially the A&M and Alabama one, now that both of them are national contenders now, if A&M is able to withhold the talent that they had this year, I think that cheapens that game to where now it's like, if you lose, it doesn't end one season. It doesn't make another season. But now it's just like you win that game, you have bragging rights for a year. I wish there was a little bit more meaning to that game if it is going to be a 12-game playoff, because I feel like that kind of just removes all meaning from the game.
Yeah. Now, check out this route now, right? Because here's the thing. Group of 5, if we, for instance, had 16 teams, then you could give every single conference champion an automatic bid. Does group of 5 deserve that type of privilege? Does Power 5 deserve that type of privilege? Where do you stand with that?
I think I don't know. I mean, I kind of played around with the idea of not giving all, like, there are 5 Power 5 conferences plus the group of 6 or whatever else you want to clarify into that 6th spot. I kind of thought about the idea of only giving 3 conference championships to the 3 best conferences, because I don't feel like the champions that like this year, if the Pac-12 champions got them into the playoffs, we all know they would have been murdered right away. Like there was no chance I'd get it, and that probably would have ruled out a team like Iowa State or a let's just say in any other year like a Georgia or Oklahoma. Then you're putting in an Oregon or a USC over a Oklahoma or Georgia that really did deserve it more. But at the same time, I get the point that every conference would need one, and I think it's an easier way for them to do it. But I think all Power Five conferences should get one, but not the Group of Five. Just because I don't think there's any Group of Five teams that are good enough to compete at that type of level.
There's one, per year that can compete, in the 4 to 6 range. Maybe Cincinnati was that team this last year. I don't really think that they could compete in the 1, 2, or 3 range so much, even though, Clemson and Ohio State were a little bit more vulnerable this year than any other year. But let's see what that would look like on an actual, full blown year. Yeah. What I'm hearing though is that, if you don't want to give each FBS team, right, and even in the Group of Five, a shot, then you don't love those guys. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Which I think is just asinine. Like it just okay. Yeah. So now take this next point then, right? Why does FCS get left out then? They play college football too.
Yeah.
It's a college football championship.
Well, there's some good FCS teams out there, man.
Well, it seems to me that RJ doesn't love those guys enough.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to give them a shot, but he thinks that these this Group of Five teams, they deserve a shot, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not against like talking about a way to incorporate and put some structures and systems in there for them to be able to move up, right? I'm not really a fan of just saying like this is the Power Five teams and they're just going to stay that way and there's no change ever, right? But look at TCU. Look what they did. They played their tail off in the Mountain West, and when it came time, they parlayed that into a chance in the Big 12. Things had to fall right, but they did it. Now, maybe there's something we could do that's more direct, and I'm not against that.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I'm a big proponent of Kansas is a cupcake for the Big 12 every year. They can talk about that however they want. You can lie about that till the cows come home, right? That's your next cupcake. So if they're not holding the bar, maybe you can let them move down and let another team move up. Now, of course, that makes things more complicated because then you start mixing up schools between football and basketball. But I don't think everybody can just have it perfect. You either got to allow for some room for movement, or you're going to have to just bite the bullet and keep it as it is. So,
I mean, I'm down with especially the Big 12. I'd like to see them change up their teams a little bit. I know there was like some people teasing out the idea of dropping Kansas and picking up Miami. I don't know how that would work. I don't know how they get Miami from the ACC. Maybe Miami's interested, but I don't know how that'd work. It'd be a weird fit. By bringing back Nebraska, that'd be interesting. Nebraska in the Big 12, I think would be pretty good. But at the same time, I mean, exactly what you said, TCU, like they worked their way up, and now they're like in a pretty good spot. So now it just goes back to the FCS idea, and if one of them actually, if they do start getting consideration to be in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big proponent of allowing just giving and saying like every Group of Five conference needs an automatic bid. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, just look at the Sun Belt Conference for a second. Like in the last 2 decades, like how many times have they beat a team not named Kentucky, Vanderbilt, or Missouri, or Arkansas. Like,
Yeah.
look back, the Sun Belt has basically beaten those teams. Like, it's like 75% of the wins. Like, I think LSU has dropped one in the last decade or two to the Sun Belt. And that's shame on them for that. Shame on them, LSU. Okay. Need to talk to Hayes about that one, right? He's a big LSU,
Yeah.
right? And then Alabama dropped one, right? Back in 2007. But RJ, we know what happened back in, I feel like this is for him. It's like you want these teams to play, but 2007 was Nick Saban's first year, right? I think he's coming off of a 6-6 season from Mike Shula the year before in 2006, in which, like, 2 years later, they had to vacate 3 wins because of infractions or whatever. It's like, okay, so it was Nick Saban's first season. Okay, somebody caught him. I think we kind of chalked that one up to design. It is Nick Saban. By the way, it is. We see where he's done with Alabama since that, right? He probably used it as a springboard. So go out and beat them. I mean, we're beating that conference, the SEC, like upwards of 85% of the time, right? And those 15% are made up almost in large part. And look, this is not to diss these teams. I mean, I wish Arkansas the best. I think they're going to be an up and coming team this next year, right? But between Arkansas, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt, those are the main wins that they're getting to make up that 15%. That's not making it 100%. And the occasional drop by LSU. So I think there's a reason why we don't include the FBS so regularly, right? But if we're going to include them, I don't see why we wouldn't include the FCS as well. I mean, if we're going to include the Power 5, then why not include the FCS?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we love them, don't we, RJ? You got to go watch that. I'm going to send that one to you so you can feel that. It's like, if you don't think this way or want 16 teams, you don't like football.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's no other way for me to be then, if that's where you're going to put it. No room for any other dissenting thought. I
guess I'll never watch football again.
I guess. I don't know, man. But anyways, it's dude just needs to know I can be a huge fan and not want more than 4 teams. I can love football and think it's fine as it is. I don't need to go to 16 teams and still this ain't his game.
Yeah.
Why he thinks this is his game. This is our game. The people watching this video, yourself, me, this is our game. So that was, in full disclosure, that was kind of one of those things I was having to get off the chest, right, when it came to this.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. So I think you got a good idea, though, if it's going to expand. So you think people are just going to start talking about, like, should 9 have gotten in over the 8th team?
Oh man, it's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen, but I don't know how you can complain about if it gets to 8. How can you complain? I mean, it's 4-2 is completely reasonable. Like, it'd be one of the best teams in the entire nation. But 8, I feel like it's really realistic. If you're actually a contender, you'll be able to get finally ranked in the top 8. I don't think you have to worry about being 9th, but you just know it's going to come. And it's probably going to come from some Longhorn fans. Like, they get ranked like 9th or 10th and then beg for an extension. And when the expansion comes, they're still begging for another extension. So I think once you expand, you just got to keep on expanding, which is the thing I'm scared about. So I know some people get it like 24. It's like, there's no way we can go to 24. But
did any recruits, kind of cite, like, if there were 8 teams, we would have gotten into the playoff, and then, like, would that have been a draw for recruits? I mean,
probably for some in a way, yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm thinking, if I'm selling to a recruit, hey, I made the playoffs, there's got to be a difference between making a 4-team playoff and an 8-team playoff, whether or not it, like, holds as much water, I suppose.
Yeah. I assume being in the 4 will probably hold a little bit more, but obviously the playoffs is the playoffs. And once they get to 8, it'll be the normal, and they'll probably just they'll probably just like it as much. So we'll see.
Do you think the recruits are starting to see us kind of, a little bit more synonymous with being at least a potential playoff team? Do they even talk about that very much?
Yeah, I remember talking to a few guys and like just by A&M being in the conversation that person to them, and I know that for a lot of guys they really didn't take A&M seriously until the season they had this year,
Mm.
because that was the one issue with A&M was that there was no proven winning,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think if the playoff expands and you start seeing A&M get into the playoffs, that's just another way for the sleeping giant to awake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big season coming up. Needed to harness that momentum from last season, and catapult us hopefully into this season. Let me ask you something else. Do you hear many players talking about the name, image, likeness stuff currently?
Oh yeah,
Are
oh
they
yeah.
really?
Yeah, they're all about it, man. Because it's just another way for them to make money. Um, I know Julian Humphrey. I've been talking to a few guys that have been like, he posts I'll give you some free clothes, you can promote it, post on AT. I'm like, all right. I know like Ruben Owens. I was talking to his dad today about once he finishes up on the visit, we can make a post just for him and I'll help promote his brand and all that because he's a black unicorn. He's made promoting that, to make merch, to make all that. So I think a big part. I don't think a lot of fans tend to think that the name, image, and likeness. If you have the most interactions on Twitter, oh yeah, the most name, image, and likeness. I don't think any team will consistently hold the record for the kids with the most jerseys sold or anything. I think it'll come down as the NFL does to the individual players. Because no matter where Tom Brady has been, he's always been one of the top ones. Um, I mean, even Todd Gurley, like he stays top 20 no matter what team he's on, and just because of the name. It's not where he's at; it's because of the name. So I think now a lot of kids have prioritized building their brand and doing like little shout outs with other kids. Especially Julian Humphrey. I know he started up his his clothing company, and he already had like 10,000 pre-sales, which is insane. So I think that it'll play a pretty big factor in kids getting to the decision part of it, but I think a lot of it is overlooked by how much the team can control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure. Again, we were in 2012. I think there's a great argument to be made that at the end of the year we were maybe the best team in the country. I mean, we had beat Alabama that year. We did have two losses, one to Florida, and I think the other one to LSU, right? But
Yeah.
the point is that Johnny probably has the number one selling jersey that year, even though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and what was it? Did Tebow's jump up recently? I think in like the last month or something when they announced.
Yeah, when he was tied in for Jaguars. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I think you're right there. I mean, it might be that there's a. I mean, I think you're still going to have a lot of guys on Alabama that are going to, Ohio State, maybe even, Notre Dame, UNC, some of those that they're going to stay up there. I mean, your blue bloods are probably going to stay your blue bloods in those areas, right? But I'm sure there'll be some outliers. Do you think, how would you rate, or if our stance currently on getting a grasp on how to handle that from a recruiting standpoint?
I know we've kind of prioritized it. We got a whole program about it now. Probably was called. But I know Jimbo Fisher's been looking for ways to really get a grasp on that and be able to use it as a weapon in recruiting. Because A&M, I know A&M has a ton of like fans that would buy a ton of merch.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot, and even now, like whenever you go to games when it wasn't legal, you have like a ton of Johnny Manziel jerseys. You'll see a ton of jerseys everywhere. So I think in a way they're starting to. Every month I feel like you see a bigger spreadsheet of people being able to take advantage of it, and people are starting to focus on what it can do for the program. Mm-hmm. I think A&M is probably one of the leaders in terms of getting ready to use that for its recruiting.
I think they're a good spot. doing a really good job branding themselves nationally. So
Yeah.
maybe it's perfect time for this to come around, since we're kind of making some waves and up and coming a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously follow through on that, but poses a pretty substantial opportunity, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, you look like you still got a little bit of a drive left, huh?
Not that far. Not at all.
Well, thanks for joining tonight too. I kind of want to tell everybody that was listening, it's like, hey, none of this is behind a paywall, so
Uh-huh.
which is fantastic for them. But I'd appreciate it if they'd go check you out on Instagram and Twitter for sure.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that.
And then they can like and subscribe or whatever, watch other videos here. That's the best way to pay me at this point. We're just here to have fun that's what I want to do. So we'll see.
Yep.
I like to just have fun, but it's for me, it's also fun to kind of set a goal and see like, okay, well, what can we get up to, right? So
Yeah.
you're pressing what, 10,000 followers currently?
I got 10,000 followers on my birthday, actually. It's pretty cool. Now I woke up this morning, I was kind of, and I couldn't remember where I was at in followers, because I was like, this doesn't look right. So I was at 10.8, and I looked at my thing. I gained like 100 followers overnight. So I was like, all right. So now I'm just pushing on to 11K now. I'm
Mhm.
wanting to get to 15K by the beginning of the season. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pushing for 15K on Instagram right now, and then on TikTok, my page has been taking off for no reason. I'm just posting random, like I'm just posting random videos of the visits and all that. It's just finding ways to get views. Like I have like 20,000 views on TikTok now.
Mm.
Not I didn't have that many on my personal page. I don't post many, but man, I might have to get into the TikTok game.
Twitter asked me the other day in like one of their surveys, like, how much do you find your self-worth in like different likes and impressions and all that sort of thing? And I'm like, not at all. I'm just here to have fun. Like, it's cool. I'll make a goal, but like, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't really care that much, but for
Mm-hmm.
the people that watched that last video that we did, I think it rocketed up like 500 views, was way more than I was expecting, considering
Oh, really?
yeah, I was like close to 500 views in that last one. So, and that was an hour-long video. There was quite a bit of
Oh
time.
yeah, it was a long. I remember I was listening back to it, and I was listening back. I was driving. I was listening back, and I'm like, is this really still going? I mean, they fly by so fast.
Well, if the listeners are having as much fun as we are, I think that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they did a great job. Hopefully, they'll share it as much as y'all can, everyone who's listening. So the wider we get, the more stuff we can do. And we're hopefully I've reached out to hopefully we got a collaboration coming up here in the future.
Oh really?
Maybe so. We'll see. I mean, I'm not trying to do like a complete like impromptu visitor for the weekend, on campus type of thing. We'll see. But definitely trying, and we'll see how it turns out. I'm definitely gonna let you know. So
All right, that'll be fun.
yeah. Hey, also though, I don't know if you didn't watch that video though, watch it and give me some feedback on it, because I'm a glutton for punishment. Anybody listen, I'm a glutton for punishment. If you want to comment and tell me what you want to hear us talk about or what you want to see and better on it, because I do this with my cooking as well. Like I want people to give me honest feedback. I don't want anything you sugarcoated. Don't tell me just like
give
it.
us some ideas.
What's that?
I get some ideas. I said they gotta give us some ideas.
Right. Okay, man. So let you get out of here, and I'll holler at you next week whenever this weekend gets finished up.
All right, man.
All right. Have a good one.